welcome back to Hand Collectibles. Please do like and subscribe to the channel if you do like to follow my journey on this build. And this is of course the Too Fast Too Furious Nissan Skyline from Fanhome. As you can see, we've got issues 63 all the way through to 68 and the installation parts. As you can see, we've got some windscreens, some headlining, some rear door panels, inner door panels, and a couple of other little bits to put together. Okay, so here we have issue 63 and the assembly part, and as you can see, quite an easy assembly part on this one. It's just the rear window with some sticky tabs obviously to put it in as well. And if we just move that to one side, and we'll have a look through the booklet as well, page by page. As always, you get a lot of information in these books, a lot about the racing heritage, and obviously always a bit about a character or a car from the Fast and Furious franchise. There you go, rear window assembly guide. Open that up and have a look. And then what it should look like when it's fully complete. And here we have the assembly parts for issue 63, and as you can see, it's pretty simple. It's just the rear windshield, some sticky tabs to put it in, and then I think like these little screw dowels that we're going to put in just to make sure the windshield stays fixed in place. Okay, I think we need to bring the main part of the shell in, and then we'll fit this rear windscreen. So the first step in the book is actually just to make sure you tape these wires in and get them all running in the same direction. This is just, we've already taped them down to make sure that they stay flush on the underside of here. But then we're going to rat them all off to the same side as the fuel cap is on. So another bit of tape, just as you round them this way, another bit of tape, and then straight off to the fuel cap side. That's the way they're going. Then we'll flick it over and then we'll start to assemble. So here's the main shell of the car, the top part. So as you can see, the rear windscreen goes in this part here, and we've got these little sticky tabs. We're going to peel them off and we're just going to insert them in here along down the sides as well. So I'm just going to do that, and then we'll insert the windshield. Okay, so here we go. I've left the tops of the sticky tabs on just so you can see where I put mine. So across here, across the top, and then back down the other side as well. So I'm just going to peel these off. Yeah, and then it's a see-through bit of tape that you don't see, and then I'm just going to insert the windscreen. Okay, so I've just turned the shell over because now you've got like these two little dowels that we're just going to insert, like one here at an angle and one here at an angle, and it just stops it coming, the windscreen coming out. So I'll put it on there. I'm just going to insert this in. Might be a little bit hard from this angle. Okay, so I just had to do mine off camera. So what I noticed is you probably have to push down on the underside of the rear windscreen, and then just use a pair of tweezers just to line these up, and then push the back part of the tweezers just to push them right in place. Yeah, and do the same, just repeat on the other side. So tweezers into the hole. Yeah, I probably should use my bigger light box, which would give you a better angle. But then you just got to push this part of the tweezer, just use that just to push it in nice and flush. But you will need to just add a bit of pressure to the underside of the windshield just to push these dowels up and through, and that'll make it quite easy. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of this issue, and we'll head on to the next one. And here we have issue 64. As you can see, very similar to the issue before. We've got the front window to install this time, and that's all there is in this pack. We'll just move that to one side and we'll have a look through the book as well. Open it up. A bit more about the history of Nissan. A bit more about Fast and Furious film. Going into touring car. There you go, windshield installation guide. Nice easy one. and what it should look like when it's fully complete. Okay, so here we have the parts for issue 63. I say parts, it's pretty much a part, which is your windshield, your front windshield, and some CM screws and some AM screws. So all we're going to do this time, I think, is pretty much insert the front windscreen into the main part of the body. Okay, so here's the main part of the body. As you can see, this is the main shell. And all we're going to do is we're going to insert the windshield. It's got two tabs here which need to just go under as we're inserting. Putting the windshield in. Just go under like that. Click them down. And that's the windshield inserted into place. Make sure it's nice and flush. And then I think all we've got to do then, I'll just tilt up, you can have a look at it. There you go. Is we're just going to insert two CM screws, one here and one here. I'm just going to do that off camera because I'm using a smaller light box and I can't get my screwdriver in above the camera. But I'll insert them and then bring the shell back in. Okay, so here's the main shell back in. As you can see, I've inserted one CM screw here and then one CM screw on the other side, just on these little black dowels. So CM screw on both sides, and I think then we're going to flip the shell over and we're going to insert two more screws, one here across the top. Let's do that. Okay, so here's the shell on the underside, and then we're just going to insert these two screws and do one here. Always remember to use something soft when you're doing stuff like this. You know, whether you use a soft Microsoft rag or a bit of kitchen towel, something just to stop the roof getting scratched up when you've got the shell flipped over. Obviously, you don't want to be damaging or scuffing the top of the shell. Look very unsightly when it's out on display. There we go. So they're done up nice and tight, like not too tight because obviously the windshield is plastic and you don't want to. You don't want to just destroy these two lugs here as you're doing them up because they will probably just snap if you over tighten them. But yeah, that's this issue complete, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so here we have issue 65. As you can see this time, we've got the inner door panel, which I believe we're going to have some lights attached to. So we'll move that to one side, we'll have a look through the book as well. Open this up. Third generation of the Skyline. Cars in Fast and Furious 6. You can see the Escort there. Bit more about touring car. There we go. Left inner door panel. Obviously some wiring to do on this as well. So here we have issue 65's assembly parts. So as you can see, we've got this inner door panel for the rear, goes across obviously the top of the door as well. You have some CM screws, some AAM screws, and these two little handles, which one fits here and one fits here. Now they're the assembly parts. It also says that you have to disconnect a couple of wires, so 1, 3 and 5, I believe it was, just double check. 1, 5 and 3, yep, 1, 3, 5. You have to disconnect them, and we're going to fit, I believe, these into here. Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got to do. Okay, so first step is just to put these two handles that we've got here in the upper side of here, and as you can see, the two handles are pretty similar other than the sides of the lugs. So I'll put them both together. You'll see this one's lugs are longer here than this one's got short lugs. So the longer lugs is the rear one, the shorter lugs is the front one, and obviously they go in at an angle, so you want the pins to be angled upwards as you push them in. Put this one in first. They angled down, maybe angled down. I think I got that wrong. Okay, so there we go. That's the first one. Just push them till they click, like that. That's the first one, and then this one as well. So you want to angle the pins going that way so they're going straight. Like I say, the one with the longer pins is the rear one. Fairly fiddly to get in, but you know, there we go. So that's them two inserted, and we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so we're going to bring in wire number one. As you can see, we've got wire one here, and this one is the one that's going to be inserted along the inside of this door frame. So if I turn this over, actually you'll be able to see. So it just goes here and here. All right. As you can see, there's an L on this for the left-hand side as well. And we're going to run this way, so the red side is on the furthest side out. So we start to just bend these little black connectors. And when we insert this, we can try and get it as flush as possible. Obviously you don't want to put a break in these little parts when you're putting these in, otherwise you'll end up with one of the lights, it's like a string of lights in these, you'll end up with one of them not firing, not being on, which you don't want. Okay, when you think you've got it close to where it needs to be, yeah, I believe the next step is just to get your tape out and we're going to tack it. Right, so there's mine. I just did it just off camera, so I've done it just so it sits nice and flush. I've kind of just crossed the wires on the underside here, yeah, and I've taped them both down, yeah, not to go in too tight, so I'm going to crimp the wires, and then I believe both these wires are going to go this way anyway, so yeah, you might just have to tape it just to make sure you're not in danger of blocking anything off or any screws. You don't want these getting nicked when you screw it all together. Okay, let's move on to the next light that we're installing. Okay, so the next light is light number 3. So as you can see, this is number 3. You got your live and neutral. And this is going to be, I believe, the top one up here. I'm just going to flip this over, put some screws that way, and not leads that way, pardon me. And then we're just going to insert this in, just check how it goes round. So, red terminal in first. I'll tuck it through the hole. Make sure you tuck your tab through and all, and what number it is, because when you reconnect these up, you're going to need to know what number it is to tack it into the correct connector which it goes into. Now a bit of a pain to get tucked through, but you do want to make sure you tuck them through. Like I say, when you put it all together, it'll make it so much easier. Roll this up, then try and just tuck it through the hole, put it through your nail, and there we go. So, there we go. So, you want to get this just so it sits nice and flush in this area. Ending there. Put that in nice and flush that way. Turn it over. You want the. Make sure you don't lose the bend this side though either. Quite fiddly to put in these lights. There we go. So once it's in and you've got them crimped from the other side, it'll just look like that. Yeah, so we'll turn this over. We'll just see where we're going to take these. Yep. I'm going to take these here. So as they cross, I'm going to take these down. Okay, so there's like the front part, and then if I spin it over, you'll see it. I've just tapped it on the back here, and all wires are going to go this way. So I think all wires are going to be fed this way anyway. Might put another little bit of tape there just to hold that down. And there we go, I'll just put another little bit of tape in there just to hold it down, make sure it sits nice and flush. Okay, so that brings us on to the last lead, the light lead and connector that we're bringing in, and this is number 5. Then number 5 is going to be this connector here, so I'll spin this over, you'll see there's another light here, so like 3 lights on this door panel is quite a lot. Yeah, we'll insert this one next. So when we insert this, the red connector goes in the top. Just tuck this little tab through as well. There we go. Feed that through. And the black one goes through this bottom hole. And we'll just feed that through as well. A little tab. There we go. Right. This one right there. Right, just snapped. It just snapped. Okay, so as you can see, I've just replaced the numbers on the lead, so this is now lead number 5. I've just reattached these to them so that I know what socket they're meant to fit in now that I've changed the lead over. Hopefully it still works because it looks like it's a similar length lead and similar light, so it should still work, should still work on the same fundamentals as that. I believe all these now wires all get piped up towards this corner. So I'll have a look, see what else we need to do on this issue, and then get these tacked in place. Okay, so after closer inspection, actually wire number 5, the one that I had spare, isn't long enough, so I will have to be asking Fanhome for a replacement part. So I won't be able to fit this completely in place until I've got the replacement part, which kind of sucks, but I suppose that's all part of building these models. Bit of a pain in the butt. But there you go, so that is as far as I can take this side now. I'll leave this one and then I'll move on to the next stage, and I'll put as much together as I can until I get the replacement part. Okay, so here we have issue 66 and the part that you get with it. So it's the opposite side door panel, the inner door panel. Move that to one side. We'll take a closer look when we're putting that together and have a look at the book. Bit more about early Skylines, a bit more about Deckard Shaw from Fast and Furious. Rally and pedigree, and right inner door panel. Obviously the wiring you need to do, and then what it should look like when it's complete. Okay, so here we have the parts for issue 66. And as you can see, we've got 2 kind of turbo gauges. I presume they're turbo gauges, which kind of fit here and here. And we've got this lug here, which is like a handle to put on, which kind of goes up here. And then it's asked us to disconnect 2, I think it's another 3. So yeah, 2, 4 and 6. So wires 2, 4 and 6. And we'll insert these as well. Okay, what is the first step? So first step is to just insert wire number 2, and that's going to go in this little bridge gap here on the window ledge, the rear window ledge. So we're going to insert that, bend it all into place, and then tape it in. Okay, so there's that one. Got it in place, bent nice and neatly, and then stuck down and then tacked, and we're going out. Obviously this time through the rear wheel arch, it says. So let's get the next wire and insert that one as well. So the next one is wire number 4, as you can see here. I'm just going to turn this over so you see which way this one threads round. black at the top. Through this hole. Slide that through. Twist the little tab round. A bit of a pain to get through, but later on really will help you. There we go, that one's through. And we're going to just put the red line connector through and roll this up. And tap that one through. There we go. Then you can see, if you look really close at these, you can see the light line in them. I always try and have the light line just facing, you'll see all the little dots facing outwards. I think that will probably give the best effect when all the car's on. Bend that into place, bend the other side into place so it looks like that, nice and flush. And we're just going to tack these down on the rear side, get a bit of tape. Okay, so there's the front part, and then if I flick it over so I'll show you the rear part, and as you can see all our leads are all going to go this way out through this rear arch. Okay, let's get the next lead and insert this one. Okay, so next one is lead number 6. It looks like, yeah, the red goes in the bottom. Turn it around. Roll these up a little bit as I tuck them through. Some of them really are a pain. Right, they're just not on tight enough to tuck them through. There we go, that's that one through. I'm just going to this one through and all. There we go, that one went through a lot easier. Okay. That inserted there. A lot of wires now at the back. Try and get this one to go a little bit flusher. Like so. Okay, we'll tap that first. Okay, so there's these lights in. So obviously we've got this one here and this one here. And then the one on the inside of the window ledge as well. So if I turn them over, and you see I've tacked them, and they're all the lines are all going to be going out for this wheel arch here. They are. So it might take a bit of fluxing when we're having to plug them all in. Okay, let's move on to the next step. Okay, the next step was to disconnect line number 10, so connector number 10. And then this is the one I think is going to power these two little dials on this side panel of the inside of the door. Okay, so there's two dials. There's one where it goes like, a little bit closer, where the red line goes straight up, the needle. There's one where the needle goes off to the side. So the one that goes straight up, double check, yeah, is the top one, and the one with the needle off to the side is the lower one. So let's just fit these in place. I believe I just push in. Okay, so they definitely take a little bit of futzing to push in, but the best way I found was to push the rear notch in where there's a little dowel, and then push the front in, and they just then clip into place. As you can see, nice and flush, and they're inserted. Now we're just going to get this lead here. Okay, so we're going to run this down. So the main lead runs to the first one, and then the second one is the one that it sits in the lower one. So I'll just turn these over, and we'll just insert these into the back. Be careful you don't push the dials back out. Right, then what we're going to do is we're just going to bend these down and get them as tucked in as possible in this area. And then obviously they're going to run the entire length of here. And they're going to run all the way down here and then back out the back. So we'll get this tacked in place. And there we have it. So we're going to run this lead all the way down here and then just out the back as well. So all these leads are all going to go this way. So when it's all connected, they'll go into the boot area. Okay, pretty cool. Let's move on to the next stage. Issue 67 this time. You can see we've got some smaller parts for the headlining. We'll do that. Let's move this to one side and we'll have a look through the book, as always. A bit more about developing the Skyline. Mr. Nobody from the film. There we go. Rear view mirror. And obviously some lighting to do on this one as well. And what it'll look like when it's complete. Okay, so here's all the assembly parts for issue number 67. So as you can see, we've got some MP screws, and then obviously we've got some bits for the inner lining, light covers for the inner lining. We've also got a rear view mirror to put together, and it also asks you to disconnect lead 15 and lead 14. So put them to one side. Got a couple more lights to reconnect, and we'll see what the first stage is. So the first step is to put all of this part together. So obviously this part goes here, and then going to insert this part here and here, so it sits nice and flush, like so. Then we're just going to put 2 screws in this to hold it together. A screwdriver, and we're just going to so you just want to do this up tight, don't want to go too tight, because you'll strip the threads out on this, because it's a fully plastic part front and back. There we go, so it sits just nice and flush. I haven't gone too tight. A bit of turning that. Probably could just loosen up a little bit. That's it, that's better. And then what we're going to do, the next step, is we've got this part here, and we're going to insert this as well. Take the bit of tape off the back, so it shows the adhesive tape. And we're just going to insert this in place. Yeah, keeping the bit on the front so you can fully push it into where it needs to be, and then you can just peel this bit off, and there it is. Nice and flush and inserted in. That completes that wind mirror. Okay, so what's the next step? Okay, so we've brought this part back in, and obviously we've got these. We've got line 14, line 15, and I believe that we're going to put a light down the side of here and the light just underneath the side of the chair here, which is going to be a bit difficult without retaking the chair out, which I don't really want to do. Okay, we'll see what the first step is. So we actually are doing wire 14 first, and that's going to go in next to the battery compartment. Now I've got a custom carpet fitted in mine, so it's going to be quite hard to push through. So I'm just going to push them through off camera and then bring it back in. Okay, so there's that one inserted, and I've got it obviously running there, and then on the underneath, if I put it over, you can see I've just tacked it there and there. And now we're going to try and tackle the one that's under the seat, which is going to be even harder to do. Okay, so I've had to just omit the feet and unscrew the chair, but not the seat belt harness, just leave that intact. Unscrew the chair, and then you can put this lead in, and if I spin it over on the underside while holding the chair, you can see I've tacked it all here and here. So I'm just going to screw the chair back in, and then I think that's near enough done. Okay, so that's it. That's the chair back reinstalled, making sure you don't pinch the light on the underneath of the chair when you're reinstalling the chair back in. So that's that bit done. Okay, so what is the next step? So no more steps for this issue. So issue 67 is done. We're going to move on to the final issue, which is issue 68. Okay, let's move on to that one. Put these seat belts back down to the bottom where they're meant to be. There we go. Right, we'll move on to the last issue, issue 68. And the final stage in this package. Here we have issue 68, an assembly part. As you can see this time it's the headlining. We'll move that to one side and we'll have a look through the book. There we go. Like I say, I always get lots of information in these books. There we go, roof lining. A bit of wiring to do on this as well, and what it will look like when it's fully done. Okay, so not a lot in issue 68. So you've got the headlining and some screws, and I think we need to detach a wire as well from the main motherboard. Okay, so we've detached lead number 9 from the main motherboard, and we are going to insert this to the top of the headline. So I'm going to spin the headlining over. Then we're just going to insert the light into the back of here. That one goes, and then I believe this one will just, might be easier to put this one in first. So that one gets pinched there. This one then gets pinched in here as well, and then that's them two in. So nice and easy. Let's see what else we've got to do in this issue. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to tack these in with a tape, and then this, I think this lead's going to go out into this direction, so down the pillar where the rest of the lights are. I know I've not put the wind mirror on yet, but I thought if I tack it in first, the first step was actually to put the wind mirror on, but if I thought if I tack it in first, I can then push it all down and then put the wind mirror on, and I won't accidentally snap the wind mirror off its bracket, which I don't want to do. Okay, let's tack this in. Okay, so here's all the lights all tacked in. Yeah, I probably overdid it a bit with the tape. I wanted to make sure these didn't come out, because once the headline is in, I don't have been messing around with this. As you can see, leads all nicely tacked in. The first bit, the bit I'm doing last, is to insert the wind mirror, which just kind of goes here. We'll get a screw. We'll insert the wind mirror and connect it properly. So I'm just gonna put that there. Put the screw in on the, I'll keep it on a screwdriver, that would help, wouldn't it? Okay, let me insert this again. Go tight just so it's nice and flush. We'll go a bit tighter than that. There we go. So you can move it about a little bit. There's a little bit of movement to it, but not too much. And there we go. That's this issue complete, and this package complete, which is good. But I'm obviously going to go and have to get in contact with Fanhome and get a replacement wire, because I can't put that inner door piece in. I'll do another video once either I'd come up with a soldering a bit of wire to make them lengths longer just for now, but yeah, I'll do another video when the Fanhome send me the replacement part. But as always, please do like and subscribe to the channel, it really does help. And I'll see you in the next video. And I think in the next video, I think there's a free gift coming with it. So super exciting. As always, your collection, your rules. I'll see you in the next video.